Okay, good morning, welcome back to Untitled TV, and thanks for joining the average golfer once again at 4 Golf Chester. Now then, I have just released some videos on the new Callaway Rogue drivers, both the Sub-Zero and the standard product, so hopefully you've seen both of those. Now, interesting one for me, and I mentioned it in a previous video, that very recently I purchased the Callaway Epic driver. Obvious question, I know you all want the answer as well as me. Is there any difference in performance? Have I wasted my money on the Epic? Is there that much of a move forward on the Rogue? Well, we're going to find out because I'm going to do a head-to-head this morning. So, one thing to mention, I was fitted for this particular driver. So it's set up, the driver, the shaft that I went for, everything has been geared specifically to me. So it's a slightly unfair advantage. And the reason I say that is because the Rogue product that I've been sent is something that's similar to what I would use, but not necessarily. If I went through a whole fit process, maybe I'd end up with a different shaft type than what is in at the moment, or maybe changing loft. So I've got to bear that in mind. This club has just been released, so further testing might find that if I went through the custom fit process, the result may be slightly different, who knows. But for the time being, more than happy the way that I hit that with that shaft in on the individual review. So we're going to get stuck in with the head-to-head. No on-course stuff with this. This is all about data. It's going to be recorded on TrackMan. I'm doing these videos all in the same day. We're going to put Rogue up against the Epic. We're also going to put it up against the Sub-Zero version of the Rogue, and we're also going to do a head-to-head with the TaylorMade M3, and they're all going to be on today's performance, the swing that I've got today, the conditions that are out there today. So it'll be very much even across the board, and we'll see who comes out on top. But enough of that one. Epic standard version, Rogue standard version. Hit some golf balls, sit down and have a chat at the end of it all. Okay, so before we get stuck into these numbers and do an overall assessment of these clubs, comments on the cap, just been passed it in between two videos there, and yeah, looking good. New logo for the average golfer. I'm liking it. What do you think? Anyway, what are we here for? All about, it's a big comparison, this one, isn't it? Because very often people are complaining, I suppose, that products are released too soon. Is there much of a difference? And this is a prime example of that scenario. We've got a very highly successful Callaway Epic driver that was released last year. I believe, and I back that up by spending my own hard-earned money on it, that it was the best driver out there last year. Certainly one of the best anyway, and that's a lot of sort of personal preference in that, but it was a very, very good driver. Arguably for me, it was perhaps the longest driver on the marketplace last year that was brought out. Again, debatable and depends on in which hands, but for me, like I said, very, very successful driver. So Callaway have launched a new product, the Rogue, and what we're really wanting to see is how much of a leap forward has technology taken. Yes, if you look at it, and if you want some more detail on this, like I said, the head-to-head video is very much a stripped-down version. There's no tech spec of each product. Go and have a look. I've reviewed the Epic and I've reviewed the Rogue in individual videos. But the differences that Callaway have made into the Rogue, they do seem minor. There does seem to be a concentration on a larger sweet spot and perhaps concentrating on dispersion, as they suggest 16% tighter dispersion downrange. And that's the interesting one. Straight away, let's get stuck into, well, I'll tell you what, let's talk about the feel and sound of the clubs. I think, once again, very, very similar to the Epic. Not much difference at all. And again, it's a sound that I like, I'm very positive about. I love the feel, I love the look of the Epic, as I do the Rogue. But don't forget, this is a head-to-head video. Okay, so let's look at the numbers. Epic on top, Rogue on the bottom. First of all, a quick mention to club head speed. It clearly wasn't swinging the club as quick as on other days, but to be fair, every video that I recorded in the head-to-heads did it the same day. Club head speed remains similar Very, very similar, in fact, throughout all of the videos that I did. So 96.8, literally a 1 mile an hour club head speed difference, which then resulted in 1 mile an hour or thereabouts ball speed difference. First thing to note, and I said, if you're going to do these things properly, then make sure you get them custom fit, and the Epic has that advantage over being custom fit. And my spin number was lower. I hit a few high spinning balls as well with the Epic, but 2.4 spin on Epic, 2.6 spin on the Rogue. With a custom fit, the Rogue spin would come down, and it would then have a knock-on effect to these numbers that we then produced. So, carry distance for Rogue, 238 yards. Averages, obviously these are. Carry distance for Epic, 241 yards. So in this basic test, head-to-head, carry distance, the Epic produced longer numbers than the Rogue. Smash factor was very good on both clubs, and overall distance, there was a 5-yard difference, 264 to 259. At launch angle, again, very, very similar. So the similarities, and as you can see how closely that is, it is very, very close indeed. And arguably with a different shaft in it and the reduce of the spin number on the Rogue, you would probably see that the total distance would be very, very similar, almost exact for both clubs. Next screen I want to throw up is the spread in terms of dispersion. Now, if you take a look at these, they're on a slightly different graphic. The Epic is in and around that change in shade of colour as the 250 marker, and we've got the 240 marker on the Rogue on the top there. The Rogue was very, very tightly packed in terms of dispersion, but as so was the Epic, to be fair. I think it's very, very difficult to separate the two clubs, and I really do mean that. It's impossible to suggest, especially over the limited trial that I've done. I suggested in the individual video that dispersion on the Rogue did look very, very good, and I had the advantage of also taking that out onto the course, and again, it were very, very tightly packed, the shots that I hit. But let's get down to the nitty gritty and what you all want to hear. Would I swap my Epic driver, which I bought? Would I swap it for the Rogue? No. And the reason I say that is simple. For me, there is no gain whatsoever to be had. Dispersion, arguably, and then it's about a personal thing, about the looks and feel maybe that change. But other than that, there is no significant advantage for me to change. And the interesting thing that I'm led to believe is that the Epic will remain on the shelf. The Rogue isn't replacing the Epic. So they're both going to be in at around the 429 mark. There's no price advantage, or will there be when it comes out? I don't know, because that's the kind of thing that I can't quite grasp why both clubs are staying on the shelf. I don't know what you would, as a club fitter, if you walked in to get custom fit, I don't know why you'd be directed towards the Rogue as opposed to the Epic. I can't quite see where the difference lies. So for me, if I walked in now and I changed from my M2 to Epic, it would really be down to the only difference I would see is which look I preferred of the two clubs, because as I said, from performance wise, there's absolutely no difference. And on the basis that I'm not that keen on the turquoise look in the Rogue, nor the turquoise shaft, because it reminds me of ladies' golf clubs, I'm afraid, I'd still stick with my Epic. Right, overall assessment is this. These two clubs are fantastic golf clubs. I am not by any means criticising either of them. And that's not because I don't want to criticise them. I will if they need criticising, but they're very, very good golf products. It is about you going down there, get custom fit, but as a head-to-head, Rogue versus Epic, absolutely identical from what I can see. At least that's a take on it from the average golfer anyway. So that's the end of this video. Thumbs up if you liked it. Comments down below. Subscribe if you don't already. And let me know what you think of this new logo. Perhaps the most important thing about all this video. Right, see you soon.